Hi guys, this is video 2 on PTSD. I may have to do an A and B portion of video 2 because I don't know how long this is going to take. um, and I may also have to stop it once in a while because in order for me to tell the story, I got to go back and go through it to remember all the stuff that I need to tell you. So, on February 14th, 2011, a little after midnight, I was sound asleep. I sleep on my right side, and I was totally sound asleep. I was 62 at the time, and I still went to bed early, just like I do now. Anyway, I felt what I would express as a pressure on my head. And it felt like I laid there for a few minutes trying to figure out what that was. But I know it was only seconds. And I'm trying to figure out, what the heck was that? Then I hear the rustle of clothing. And I remember thinking to myself, there's somebody in my room. So I went to sit up. And another one. Back of my head. I felt something in the back of my head. And I was being beaten with a hammer. Now, if you take a hammer and just hang on a second, guys. Just little Mikey. I was being hit or beaten with a hammer. And the one that got me here, that went through my skull into my brain. I still have a hole in my head there. Now, just for visual, if you were to take a hammer and you just tap your head, that's going to hurt. You imagine what it feels like when somebody's pounding you with a hammer? The funny thing is with your body is sometimes if the pain is amazing, your body will eliminate it somehow. So even though I was being hit with a hammer, it didn't hurt. I felt the reaction of it. I felt like my head being pushed forward. So after the second hit, I turned around to see, because this person is behind me. I turned around and then instantly, bang, I got another one. That one there took a chunk right out of my scalp, and it was gone. And so on that particular hit, I fell back. I had a TV stand that was about 5 feet high, and it had glass shelves, had 5 glass shelves, and then I had an old style 20-inch tube TV on top. Well, I fell back through all the glass shelves, broke them all, and fell on the floor, and the TV fell on top of me. Now, the only way I can think is that he thought he had killed me. Because when I started to move again and get up, he threw the mattress from my bed all up in front of him to protect himself, I guess. I don't know. So I got up, and there was only a tiny space between the mattress and him and me escaping. And I ran out into my kitchen. I grabbed a knife, and ran out into the main hallway of my building, which I live on the 24th floor, and I'm out there after midnight in my underwear. And I remember, I wouldn't say I was running down the hall. I was more like falling forward. Like it was a weird sensation, and everything slows down, really slow, and that's a protective thing. That's your brain slowing things down so it can grasp, what's going on. I made it to the elevator. I didn't push the button because I didn't want to get trapped in the elevator with this person. But I got to the elevator. I turned around, and as soon as I turned around, within a split second, he was right there in front of me, and now he has a knife. The knife he had was bigger than this, and a lot heavier, and a lot sharper. But anyway, just to give you a visual of this. So then he stabbed me through here, like he went like that. As soon as he did that, I lost half my air, and from the way I understand it, there's a nerve comes down here, and it branches off and runs your diaphragm, and my nerve got cut, and so this diaphragm stopped working. So that means that this lung is no longer working. So I lost half my air right away, and I'm gasping for air, and I started yelling, "Call the police!" That everybody else is in bed in the building, but anyway. So I ran further down the hall. I banged on doors. Oh, by the way, the knife that I had picked up was the long bread knife, very flimsy, no point on it. You could shove the point in your hand and it wouldn't even hurt. I mainly wanted something long to keep this person away from me. And so I ran down the hall. I'm knocking on doors. And now he's hacking at my head with this knife, and it's a heavy-duty knife. It's a big knife. Sometimes we call them, what do we call it? I can't think of the knife. I can't think of the name of the knife, but it's a heavy-duty knife for chopping meat and bone and stuff like that. And so he's hacking at my head. To try and give you another how to express how this felt, a lot of you who are my age or a little bit younger went to school, and we had a 12-inch ruler, wooden ruler, and it was like taking that ruler and just kind of cracking it over my head. And it didn't hurt. I didn't realize it at the time, but every time he hit me with that knife, it was going right through my skull, right through my scalp, into my skull, and into the bone. I still have multiple grooves in my skull from the knife hitting me. But the weird thing is, it didn't hurt. It was annoying to me because I could hear the crack sound, crack, crack, crack. One of the strikes of the knife. Maybe I can show you. Hard to do without my glasses. Can't see. Anyway, it come down through here, missed my eye, across my nose, and down into here. Um, uh, so luckily, it didn't take out my eye. And another strange thing, it's going to be strange to hear me say this, but it's a good thing he was going after my head, because that's the most protected part of your body. If he would have went after my guts, I wouldn't be telling you the story. I'd be done. Um, so, and he's fully dressed. He's got a long trench coat on, work boots, and he's got this knife that he keeps hacking at me. So he's hacking at me, and it was annoying. And I reached up and grabbed his knife um, by the blade, which not a good thing to do. So I grabbed the knife by the blade, and he looked up at the knife, and it exposed his neck, because I had tried to stab him in the stomach, but he's wearing this heavy coat, and I had this flimsy little knife, and it wouldn't do anything. It just left marks on the coat. It wouldn't even penetrate the coat. Anyway, when he looked up at me hanging onto the knife blade, it exposed his neck, and I went across his neck with my knife. And then I think he fell down, and I took off, and I ran back to my unit and closed the door, locked it. I went to the kitchen sink, trying to just get a grasp of what the frig is going on. And then I went into my bedroom. The kitchen was just blood everywhere. My bedroom was demolished, and blood everywhere. And I sat down on the floor. Just to back up a little bit, the day before, I had my cell phone stolen, and so I'm in there, and I got nothing, and I can hear him trying to get in the door. Sorry, I kind of lose it for a minute here. So I'm laying on the floor, and my cell phone was stolen the day before, and I had an old cell phone, a really old one of the flip kind, and luckily I had started to charge it the day before because I lost my other one, and luckily it worked. So I called 911 and told them what was going on, that I'd been attacked. A meat cleaver. That's the word. I'd been attacked by a meat cleaver, because that's all I saw. I didn't see the hammer until after the police told me that there was a hammer and wanted to know if it was my hammer, and I said, no, it's not my hammer. My hammer's in my shop, and I had round welts on my head. So I called 911, and I was on the call for 911 for half an hour, and I'm telling them, hey, you gotta hurry. I didn't realize it, but they were already here. From what I understand from management weeks after, is that there was 3 ambulances called, 22 police cars came, and also because I locked the door and I wasn't going to open it, and I told them that. I told 911 that I'm not opening the friggin' door. So they had to call SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics, and they broke into the door. Because he had told them that I had a dog, which I didn't. He told them that I had a gun, which I didn't. And so they didn't know what was going on. And he told them that I attacked him. And so they were coming after me, thinking that he was the victim. And so finally, I hear the door bang, and I'm thinking, I didn't know the police were out there. I'm thinking he's coming in. And then I hear them announce that it's police. They wanted to know where I was. So I guided them through. I said, follow this, and I'm sure all they had to do is follow the blood. And anyway, he's Special Weapons and Tactics. He comes in and points his rifle right at me. And he said, drop the weapon. And I'm thinking, I don't have a weapon. I got a freaking bread knife. Anyway, that's what he meant. So I dropped that. They're thinking that I'm the attacker. So then I remember an officer coming in. Also, the paramedics, I guess they were paramedics. They were dressed in helmets and the whole bit. Like, they had to be special paramedics going into a dangerous situation or something. Anyway, I think it was a lady. She come over and kind of looked at my scalp, and I remember her saying, "Oh my God!" And I'm just oozing blood, just everywhere. I got cuts on my arms, my hand where I grabbed this knife, off of my shoulder, my face, my head. I got marks over here where I fell through the glass TV stand. And I remember one officer coming in and said, "This guy's got the cell phone." So they knew that I was the one that called. And different things affect me differently. I remember before I knew the police were coming or were already here, I told the 911 operator that you gotta hurry. I'm bleeding. And it always gets me, because she said, we're all sorry. She said, we're all coming for you. Sorry, guys. We're all coming for you. And that really bothered me, because I don't ask for help from anybody. I do everything myself. Wouldn't matter what it is. I just don't ask for help. And here I am asking for help. Anyway, they put me on a stretcher and carried me outside, and there was lots of police cars, and they had me on the stretcher, and this is February, so it's cold out, and I'm only in my underwear. They had a intravenous or something going in my arm, Anyway, so I'm freezing outside, and she went to check, or they were checking him in the other ambulance, and then finally they put me in an ambulance. I remember the lady or the paramedic, after they got me in the ambulance, I remember her saying, she said, "Scott, you gotta go. This is critical." I remember that, and that always made me kind of laugh because I think you hit every bump you could find, and well, if I don't die from this, I'm gonna die in an ambulance accident. He was moving right along. Anyway, I get to the hospital. They have this staple gun that I had all kinds of staples in my head. I had about 250 staples and stitches in my head, and I had stitches down through here. My arm was all stitched up. Now, I have a lot of nerve damage. You know when your foot's asleep and it's numb, but if you touch it, it kind of hurts. Well, that's the way my arm is. It's asleep, but just anything touching it, like a long sleeve shirt, that hurts. And I've only been started wearing a watch because I have a really bad cut here, and even the watch, if it touches that, it kind of hurts. Then I had the hole in my head. And half of my scalp is all there's no nerve damage again, so it's hard for me to sleep on this side of my head because it's very sensitive. Anyway, so they take me to the hospital. I get all stapled up, stitched up, and I'm laying in the ER. I guess that's where I am. And I remember a police officer coming in, or a couple of them, I guess, and he said, "You're under arrest, and you're charged with attempted murder and weapons, dangerous, I think it was, and assault with a deadly weapon or something like that." Because he's telling them that I attacked him. So, and I'm saying that was self-defense. Like, I had no choice. And he said, "Well, we're going to sort it out." So they had forensics come, and that would have been interesting to watch how they do that, but anyway, I couldn't see that. But they came and did blood splatter analysis, I guess, to find out what direction I was going, and they later on they inked my feet to see if it was my footprints that were in the floor, which direction I was going. So all that was pretty interesting. My apartment and the hallway that I ran out into came to a total of $16,000 damage. And I remember asking one of the police officers, this is quite a ways later, and he had a book of my case. It was about that thick, and I said, "The building is charging me for damaging the building." I said, "What damage did I do to the building?" And so he's going through the pages, lifting it up, shows me the hallway. There was blood smeared the full total length of the hallway, all over the wallpaper. The carpet's all blood, and so I had to pay for all that. New carpet, new wallpaper and stuff. So after I got released from the hospital, I was about there for 3 days, and I went to a different jurisdiction to recover. My sons came and got me, um, and I'm not sure if I should stop this here, or I gotta think how much further I've got. Anyway, I suppose I can, if I stop it, I'll just edit it out and I'll start a new one. So anyway, I'll carry on. So I was at a different jurisdiction. So the police told me that they were going to set up an interview with a counselor in that jurisdiction, and so I went to the appointment. I went in like a conference room, and this lady, police officer, came in, and just hang on a second. I gotta show you, Mike. See if I can do this. Mike, you're a little wet, you know. Is it raining out? Anyway. Well, that's what you get when you go outside in the rain. You're gonna look a little wet. You okay, buddy? Just hang on. Just bear with me. Hang on. Okay, so I'm at a different jurisdiction. I'm in the conference room, and the lady police officer come in. And one of the things that the other police department told me says, make sure that whoever you talk to, they see these photographs. So I sit down. She sits down. She says, "Okay, tell me what your problem is." I said, "Well, the police department in my jurisdiction said that you need to see these pictures." And I remember she said, "No, I don't need to see any pictures. Just tell me what your problem is." And I said, "Well, they said that you need to see these pictures." So I said, "Okay, show me the pictures." So she goes through all the pictures and says, "This is way beyond me." She says, "You need a trauma therapist." She says, I'm not qualified to do this." So that was kind of disappointing for me, because I thought I was going to get some help. And anyway, they set it up and I went to a really, really amazing trauma therapist. And that's where I learned the EMDR, I think it's called. And they put a pair of headphones on you, and you hear a little wee, very clear bell, and the bell travels from this ear and it goes over to that ear. And while it's doing that, you have to go through and tell the trauma therapist what you're feeling and all the emotions and what's happening to you. So I have to redo the incident, and what the MDR does, it connects the two sides of your head, because you got a logical side, I guess, and you got an emotional side, and they weren't talking to each other. So emotionally, I'm a wreck. Logically, I don't understand what the hell's going on. So the MDR, that made the two sides of my brain be able to talk. So then, now this is a couple months later, I go back to my condo. I had looked all over for a condo, another place to live, and then finally I got thinking, no way. I mean, this is not going to kick me out of my home. I'm going to take charge, and I'm going back to my home. People were kind of surprised that I did that, but I'm not going to let him win. So, so I went back to my condo, and every night I would go to bed, and I started to feel not very good. And I remember about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, one morning, there's something wrong. So I got up, got dressed, drove myself to the hospital, talked to somebody there, and I said, told them what had happened, and I said, there's something wrong with me. I don't know, you know. And I went through a couple of doctors trying to figure out what was going on. And finally, and I think it was a lady doctor, finally, she said, it sounds to me like you're sleep deprived. And I said, well, I go to bed every night. She said, yeah, but are you sleeping? And I thought, well, I go to bed, so I must be sleeping. But apparently I wasn't. And different parts of me were shutting down. And so she said, you take these and go home and go to bed. And so I did. Oh man, it was the best sleep I've ever had. I felt so good. Finally, I got to sleep. That's what was wrong. I was sleep deprived. I wasn't sleeping at all because I would wake up and hear. Hang on a second. Little Mike, he has to have his thing. I'll try to show you what he's doing here. You're a little wet, Mike. Anyway, so where the heck was I? So I started sleeping. What it was is I would go to bed. I may have fallen asleep for a couple of minutes, but I would hear something, and that would keep me awake. I would be awake the rest of the night because I thought he's coming back to kill me. You know, even the building creaking or whatever. My mind, he's coming back. So I was awake all the time, and I had so many. I had weapons hidden everywhere, so there's no place in my place that I wouldn't have a weapon available to me. I had locks and alarms on all the doors, even bedroom doors, and then I had barricaded. That's kind of where some of you have mentioned Mike's little door. That's kind of where that came from, because I could lock and board up the bedroom door, and he could still get in, and even, you know, even for his protection, he could get into a protected room and, you know, be safe. But that's kind of where that little door came from, and I kept it because it works pretty good. So I am going to stop it here, because this is where I'm gradually going to get into Mike. So I'm going to stop it here. Sorry about the, you know, hesitating or whatever. But I'll give you an idea, you know, what I went through and how I developed PTSD. Sounds bother me. Mike, hey. He's stuck in and going around in a circle. Mike, hey Mike. Lay down. Okay? Yeah, lay down. So this is where we're going to get into how I got Mike and how he saved my life and all that. So I'm going to stop it here. I hope. I don't know what I hope, really. You either like this or you don't. So, but anyway, sorry that I had to hesitate a little bit there. But anyway, I'll say goodbye. And so there's going to be just the one part for this video. I'll probably think of things like I should have told you, but the next one that I do will be about Mike. And anyway, thanks guys. Hope I didn't bore you again. You know, anyway, what can I do? So I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye bye.